Hello everyone, today here we are going to start our Python series. This series is especially for beginners, those who are afraid of any programming language. Then Python is a easy language, easy programming language that they can start with. And this series is going to help them because I'm going to explain everything in detail from scratch. And it would be in an easy language with some diagrams, and that would be helpful for you. Okay, and I am keeping slides also interactive and interesting so that you don't get bored during the session. Okay, so let's get started with what Python is and how it works actually. So basically, we all have heard the term Python. Python is a programming language. So let's see the technical terms about Python and their real meaning inside it. Okay. So Python is said to be a general purpose interpreted, interactive, object-oriented, and high-level programming language. But hold on, do you really understand what all these terms means? Do you understand what is a high-level programming language? So a high-level programming language which is easily human understandable, which is close to English or the language that we communicate through. So that is called as a high level programming language. It is a little bit far from machine understandable form. Machine have to convert it into its language, but yeah, it's close to human understanding and it's easy to learn. That's why more and more newcomers are moving towards Python. They are learning Python because it's easy to learn at the very initial level. Next, Python is said to be a general purpose. So that's so obvious because you can use Python at almost everywhere. You can use Python in web application, in mobile application, desktop application, in data science, machine learning, and in chatbots, automation testing, and big data applications. So almost everywhere you can use Python. Python is said to be interpreted. Now, many people doubt this. There are two terms. One is compiler and one is a interpreter. So Python is a interpreted programming language. Python has got an interpreter. You write your code inside a source file, inside a file, and Python convert that code into machine understandable one line by line. So line by line is done by an interpreter. You can read the definition, the technical definition from here. You can pause the video and you can read the terms from there. Python is interactive. Now, when we say Python is interactive, you can actually talk to Python. Okay, but how? Let me show you. Let me give you a demo. Here I'm using this IDLE shell. Let me quickly check whether it's visible on my screen or not. Just 1 second. Give me a second. Yeah, now it will be visible for you. There's this IDLE shell. Okay, now over this shell, this is Python's shell which automatically comes whenever you are installing Python. There is an installation video and you can check it there. Now I want to ask what is 2 plus 2, so it's directly going to give you 4. If I ask what is 64 plus 12 plus 100 minus 10 or something, I can write anything over here and simply running it. So Python is an interactive programming language. This feature you will not find in most of the other languages because here it provides you a shell, a interactive shell where you can directly talk to. So that's why it is said as a interactive programming language. It provides its own shell environment where you can interact with. All right. Now, Python is object oriented. Many people find it really difficult to understand what object oriented is. See, whenever you write a program, how it get executed, there are various, what should I say, various types. Okay, one of that type is object oriented. Now, don't worry about this fancy word object oriented if you are a beginner. There are few concepts that collectively create a object oriented, and we'll be talking about them in detail, and we will be connecting it with our real world problems too. So don't worry about it, just keep it on hold and see. Object oriented is basically, it's a programming technique where you write everything in the form of class and object and you encapsulate and you put all the OOPS concepts over here. What are those? We will be talking about them in our coming videos. Okay, Python is dynamically typed programming language. Now this term is very important because only few languages are dynamically typed. But what does it mean? Okay, it simply means that you need not to declare the type of your variable while you're writing it. Let's say I want to use a variable to store the marks of the student. So I need not to mention that marks that student got, let's say out of 100, the student got 30 marks. Okay, so I need not to mention that marks would be an integer variable. I'll simply write marks. So automatically, according to the value, it's going to assign the variable. I'll give you a demo for this as well in our upcoming video, but Python is said to be dynamically typed because here the variables data type is attached at the runtime. Okay, dynamically typed. You can read the definition again from the slide. And Python has its own garbage collector. Okay, so Python is garbage collected programming language. You can see whatever the memory locations which are not in use, Python automatically puts them into the garbage box. Python is a programming as well as scripting language. That's the biggest advantage of using Python, and that's why you were able to see that interactive shell that Python provides. Okay, now there are two things. One is programming language and one is a scripting language. Here you can see the difference. See, a program. What is a program? A program is executed. Okay, that means the first of all the source code will get compiled, then you will see the result and something like this. Okay, and what program actually is, it is some set of instructions which are written to complete a particular task, a single task or some kind of task. Whereas a script is a interpreted one. Okay, script in which you can write a set of instruction where multiple things can be done. Let's say on the whenever I switch on my computer, I should get Chrome running, I should get my Visual Studio Code running. So all these things I can write inside a script. What are the tasks to be done, at what point to be done. Okay, whereas Visual Studio Code itself a program, Chrome is itself a program. So there is a little bit difference between a script and a program. Okay, now Python act as both programming language as well as scripting language too. Now the very interesting question comes, okay, we understood what Python is, but why use Python? You have other options too in the market. So there are few options or few things which make Python different from other programming languages, like it works on almost all the platforms. It works on different platforms, like it works on Linux, Unix, Mac OS and Windows, and every platform it works on. And the most important one is it is simple and easier to learn. Its syntax is just like English. Whenever I'll be further explaining you the Python concepts, I'll be telling you like you are talking to your machine, you're talking to your system. Oh, okay. Hey system, print hello world. So that syntax is very simple and easily understandable, and just like talking to your machine in an English language. So that's why it's easy to learn. And Python syntax are very easy to follow, and also whenever you're writing the code, you can write the code in the fewer number of lines when compared to other programming languages. Okay, and Python runs on an interpreter. That means that code can be executed as soon as it is written. Okay, so when it comes to this perspective, as soon as you write the code, it can get executed. That means prototyping can be very quick in Python. Okay, and Python, here you can implement different programming styles, like you can implement procedural way, you can implement object oriented or a functional way. Whatever the way you like, the approach you follow, any of the programming style you can implement here in Python. Okay, if I talk about Java or other completely object oriented programming language, there you have just one style of programming. In Java you cannot write any line of code outside a class. Okay, so that's why it's said to be a object oriented, more object oriented programming language. Whereas in Python, you need not to create a class always. Without creating a class also you can write your code. So that's the beauty, and few more advantages are also there. It has got a vast collection of libraries which can be easily used. You can directly import them, use them, especially in data science and AI/ML. Okay. Now, what Python can do? Interesting things. Let's just get to see what Python can do. Okay, so Python can do software development. Python can be used in data analytics, in data engineering, in data science. Okay, it can be used in artificial intelligence, in prototyping, in machine learning, web development, and Android app development. It can be used in visualization, in scripting. So almost everywhere Python can be used, and I don't think there is anything that Python can't do. Okay, almost everything can be done with the help of Python. Now there are various Python frameworks which are very popular. Not just frameworks, there are few libraries too. Okay, so I'll be explaining some libraries and the frameworks over here so that you get to hear what are those. Like if I say Django, so at least you know what Django is. Okay, so for web development on the server side, there are few Python frameworks which are very famous. That is Django, Flask, Pyramid, and CherryPy. These are the very famous and mostly used frameworks. And if I talk about GUI based or GUI based application, so TK and PyJS is there. For machine learning, we use PyTorch, TensorFlow, scikit-learn, Matplotlib for plotting the graphs and all those. In mathematics, we use NumPy and Pandas, and beautiful SoapUI, which is a library for web scraping using HTML and XML. Okay, and for REST kind of request, so there is a request library also available. SQL Chemi is there, Kiwi is there for multi-touch application like tablet or mobile application. Pygame is there for game development, PyTest for testing, Django REST for Django RESTful API development. Fast API is there, NLTK is there for natural language processing. So just get familiar with what are the different frameworks and the libraries and what are their usage. Okay, and we'll be talking about them in detail in our further upcoming videos. Okay. Now, the organizations that are using Python, let's see. So you can see most of the important names are here. Uber is here, Netflix, Spotify, Udemy, Asana, and you can see PayPal is here. Okay, so Quora is here, Pinterest, okay, Instagram, Dropbox. So many major organizations are using Python somewhere in their application. Okay, somewhere in their use case. So yes, Python is becoming very important part of our development or the software industry. So it's good to learn Python as soon as possible. At least to have a good knowledge of Python is a great add-on. Now, if you are learning Python, then you might be expecting like what kind of different job roles that I can get in the software industry if I learn Python. So you can get a Python web developer, you can be a data analyst, you can get a software developer and engineer, you can be a data scientist, AI engineer, ML engineer, ML ops engineer, DevOps engineer, like this. Okay. So there are many more. I have just mentioned few over here. You can be what should I say, algorithm operational engineer. So this kind of profiles are there. That depends on company to company. All I have mentioned is the general profiles, job profiles, which you can find very frequently and easily. Okay, so there might be a doubt, as most of the students ask me, like after learning Python, how much package I can expect as a fresher. So I would say it completely depends on after learning Python in which direction you are moving on. If you are moving into web development, so you are using any framework over there. If you are going into DevOps, what you are going to use there, or if you are using AI, ML, or data science, data analytics, something. Okay, just learning Python is okay, but you will not get a very catchy package over there. So it's good along with learning Python, you go with some additional skills over here. It's good if you want to go into web development, either learn Flask or Django. They are very quick web applications, sorry, web frameworks, which will be easy to learn and also which will be time saving when it comes to implementation. So you can move on to any of the profile, but in general, if you are a Python software developer as a fresher also, your package would be, I'm telling you, the average package would be above 6 LPA. Okay, and see, you need to add on the some extra skills. The more extra skills you will have, the higher your package would be. Now that rest depends on how much hard work you have done and how many projects you have created. Okay, thank you.